Shohei Ohtani isn't trying to extend his pitching career. He's trying to maximize it while he still can.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm Harry Ruiz, and it's time for Locked On Dodgers. On today's show, Dodgers fans are showing up in force for All-Star voting. The Dodgers are the first team in baseball to reach 50 wins, but that milestone came with a potentially expensive price tag. But first, Shohei Ohtani just gave us one of the most revealing looks yet into how he views the future of his pitching career. I'm diving into this in today's episode, which is brought to you by Odoo. Great organizations win because operations matter. And that's why you should get Odoo. Try for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. Shohei Ohtani isn't holding anything back. We've all watched Shohei Ohtani do things that no one else in baseball history has ever done. But right now, he's sending a very clear message about how he plans to finish this season on the pitching side. In a recent interview with Japanese sports magazine Number, he said that he's treating this year like it might be his final true opportunity to pitch at an elite level. And I quote, "Inside, I'm assuming this is my last chance as a pitcher." End quote. And look, that doesn't mean that he's not planning to pitch until he's 40 or drag things out. It means that he wants every start to matter. He wants the workload to feel heavy and impactful instead of safe and spread thin. Actually, in his own words, he's not interested in something thin and long. He wants it thick, as dominant and meaningful as possible. That mindset right there shows up in the little things. And even with some knee swelling and a blister on his finger, Ohtani is still scheduled to take the ball on Wednesday in Minnesota. Heck, I'll be completely honest, him and his wife, they just gave birth to their second child this past week, and the plan hasn't changed. He's not looking for excuses to skip a turn. He's looking for every chance to keep building. I thought that Ohtani might catch up with the team later in Minnesota. Instead, he was out there for the series opener. He hit a home run to lead off the game. That just shows you the type of commitment that this man has, because most players, they go on the paternity list. They're able to get off of the team's schedule for 3-4 days and then come back after their wife has their baby. Ohtani, everything ended up lining up for him and the Dodgers to be at home when Mamiko gave birth. And that allowed him to take Friday's game off. But then he was immediately back on Saturday, Sunday. He traveled with the team after the blowout loss on Sunday. They went out there. They won in Minnesota the first game. That shows you the type of commitment that this man has, and that he knows that the window of opportunity isn't huge. He has to capitalize on the moments that he has of being at the very peak of his career. His 32nd birthday is almost coming up, and it's crazy to just look back at the last 2 years and everything that he has done, and that he still isn't satisfied. He wanted a World Series. He got it with the Dodgers in his first year. He wanted another one, and coming back to pitching, he did that in 2025. In 2026, this man just keeps on rolling. And this drive right here comes from a personal place. Ohtani talked about how he learned hitting with a lot of expert help growing up, but pitching was mostly self-taught. How crazy is that? This man is one of the contenders for the Cy Young Award this year in the National League, and he learned how to pitch on his own. That makes the craft feel even more special to him, and also more frustrating when things don't click right away. And look, it's a completely different beast when you're a pitcher compared to when you're a hitter. When you're a hitter, you're one of 9 guys going up to the plate. That's a shared responsibility, even though at times it feels like Shohei Ohtani is carrying with all that weight in his shoulders, where if he doesn't produce in a high level, and that especially when he was with the Angels, the team doesn't move forward. With the Dodgers, there's more support, but man, when Shohei's on fire like he has been since May 12th, this team has been playing better, even though this recent stretch, the offense hasn't been great. Shohei Ohtani, he now has 2 home runs in his last 3 games since coming back from that day off on Friday. But when you're a pitcher, you're literally the only guy on your team that gets to touch the ball every time that you're out there on the field. The responsibility, the pressure, the challenge of trying to beat another hitter. That's what Shohei carries on his shoulders and that he enjoys. That makes the game fun for him, and he loves being out there as a pitcher. If not, he wouldn't be struggling with everything that he has gone through in his career to be at the point that he's in right now. And the reality right now also is that he knows that the hitter version of himself has been ahead of the pitcher version for a while because of those 2 big elbow surgeries. So that gap between Ohtani the hitter and Ohtani the pitcher only makes him more determined to close it. And we as Dodger fans, we get to enjoy it, seeing him on our side instead of the teams that the Dodgers play where it's like, damn it, we have to go and beat Shohei Ohtani today, not only as a DH, but also as a pitcher whenever he's scheduled to start. And he's been better on the mound than in the batter's box at times, and that's good. But here the thing is, he's seen that progress. I mean, he hasn't been as good as a batter as he has been his first 2 years as a Dodger, but he's still been pretty damn good up there at the plate. But when you see that determination when he's a pitcher, that just goes back to spring training when he said that winning a Cy Young Award would be great. And that's something that in the interview with Number, he actually said that he pictures himself on the mound throwing pitches to the Shohei Ohtani hitter of himself, something that Shohei Ohtani couldn't handle. So just imagine that. Shohei on one side pitching, Shohei on the other side hitting. He doesn't go and challenge and be like, okay, what do I need to strike out this guy that's up there? He's with the mentality is like, okay, what would be very difficult for me to hit? And that's the way that he's approaching things. And that's a standard. That's the goal. And honestly, that's probably why he's still doing things that seem impossible, because he's never measuring himself against everyone else. He's measuring himself against what he believes that his own ceiling can be, which at times it just seems like it's not there. Of course, there are risks, and Ohtani understands the consequences, and he just refuses to let fear of those consequences stop him from trying to be great. Instead of becoming more cautious, he's choosing to attack the challenge head on. Most athletes, especially pitchers, spend their careers protecting themselves from risk. Ohtani has built his career embracing it. And this is the same player who refused to choose between pitching and hitting. The same player who ignored conventional wisdom. The same player who Major League Baseball created rules specifically designed around what he does, because we just can't get enough of Shohei Ohtani. Us as Dodgers fans, but also the rest of baseball. And here is the big thing for us. We want to see Shohei Ohtani be able to thrive during the entirety of his contract. It's a decade-long contract. He's currently in the 3rd year of his career. Some moment, the production will decline. Just look over at Mookie Betts. He's in year 7 of a 12-year deal with the Dodgers. He won World Series in half of his first 6 years with the teams. Last season, we started seeing those numbers dip, especially offensively. Defensively, he's been fantastic for the Dodgers. He went from right field to second base to shortstop. He's been great. But someday, sometime, you know that Father Time is going to catch up. And Father Time is undefeated. And hopefully it will take longer for Shohei, but he's not going to let this window of opportunity go by and not capitalize on it. He wants to be the best version of himself. I mean, look at how things have been rolling for the Dodgers. Maybe the only reason why they haven't tried to give him some rest as a pitcher is because they don't have many more options available right now, with Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow being on the IL. But I can almost guarantee you, even if those guys were available, Ohtani would push back onto taking a little bit of time off from the mound. He wants to be out there. He wants to be the best version of himself, both as a pitcher and as a hitter. But right now, it's the first time since before he arrived with the Dodgers, the first time since 2023 that he can go the entire season just pitching, and being able to thrive in that matter. So I want to hear directly from you. Do you want Ohtani to keep pushing this hard on the mound right now, or would you rather see the Dodgers protect him more aggressively and save some of those bullets for October? Drop your take in the comments or let us know on any of our social networks, or also hit up the Locked On Dodgers listener line. I love hearing from you. You could either leave a voicemail or a text at 279-3LOCKED. That's 279-356-2533. I want to hear where you stand. Coming up on Locked On Dodgers, the Dodgers just became the first team to 50 wins, but 2 starters left the games with injuries. I'll break it all down next. If you've got a sweet tooth like I do, you know how tough it is to find that perfect treat without all the sugar. That's why cotton candy 5-hour energy shots bring that nostalgic flavor back in a whole new way. This is that classic cotton candy taste that you remember, but with a tasty caffeine boost and, most importantly, 0 sugar. It's a quick, easy way to satisfy that sweet craving while keeping things simple and on the go. I've always loved cotton candy, but I can't be eating sweets all day. That's why this here is a perfect alternative. Bring on the sweetness with cotton candy 5-hour energy shots. Available now online at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. ED is way more common than most guys think. Millions deal with it. Hims makes it simple though. They connect you with licensed providers online for personalized treatments from the comfort of your home. No awkward appointments, no pharmacy lines, just an easy, straightforward process. Taking care of yourself shouldn't feel complicated. Hims keeps it private and built around your schedule. When something is already uncomfortable to talk about, starting online from home makes that first step much more manageable. To get simple, online access to personalized, affordable care for ED, hair loss, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/lockedonmlb. That's hims.com/lockedonmlb for your free online visit. hims.com/lockedonmlb. Prescription required. See website for details and important safety information. Sildenafil is the generic version of Viagra. Viagra is a registered trademark of Viatris Specialty LLC. Hims is not affiliated with or endorsed by Viatris. You can get every episode of Locked On Dodgers ad-free through the Everydayer Club. There's a free 7-day trial waiting for you at lockedondodgers.supercast.com or through the link in the show notes. Plus, check out Pete Fox after every Dodgers game with the Locked On Dodgers postcast show on our YouTube channel. Immediate reaction following every one of the Dodgers games. First of 50 wins, but the injuries won't stop coming. After a tough home series loss against Baltimore, the Dodgers went on the road and took care of business, opening their series in Minnesota against the Twins with a 2-1 win that made them the first team in Major League Baseball to reach 50 victories this season. For any other team, that's a huge headline. For this team, it almost feels like a side story because, once again, the conversation immediately shifts towards health. Let's start with how they got the dub. It wasn't a typical Dodgers offensive explosion. They scored just twice, and both runs came on solo home runs. Shohei Ohtani led off the game with a blast to give them an early 1-0 lead. His second homer in 3 games since returning from being away from the team on Friday due to the birth of his second child. Freeman, he broke a 1-1 tie in the 6th with a go-ahead shot. But beyond those 2 swings, this offense keeps struggling. They went 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position and left 9 men on base. And those struggles have unfortunately become a constant over the last week. It's the 4th time in their last 6 games that they couldn't score more than 2 runs, winning 2 and losing 2 of those games. Usually that's not the kind of night that wins games, but the pitching staff made it work this time. The Dodgers, they went with an interesting quirk. They had an opener in Will Klein. He gave up a solo home run to Byron Buxton, who leads all the American League with home runs. But once Eric Lauer entered the game in the second inning, everything changed. He was outstanding. We've seen some good starts from him since arriving to the Dodgers in mid-May. But this one right here, I know it doesn't officially count as a start. It counts like him coming out of the bullpen. This one was great. 6 no-hit innings. He allowed just 3 walks and struck out 2. So he ended up getting 3 base runners, but besides that, nothing else. And striking out 2, that means that a lot of the balls were in play, but a lot of weak contact, some good defensive plays by the Dodgers. Let Lauer have his best outing since rocking with the boys in blue. That's now 5 starts for him, and in 3 of them, he has been able to pitch 6 innings for the boys in blue, and that's fantastic, especially when you look over at some of the recent struggles with other guys who can't get out of the 4th inning, and then you leave a huge responsibility on the bullpen to be able to cover. When instead, between Klein and Eric Lauer, you give the bullpen just 2 innings to cover. You get a fresh batch of pitchers coming out of the pen, relievers just having the responsibility of throwing an inning each. And in this case, for the Dodgers, it was Kyle Hurt, who worked a clean 8th, and Tanner Scott, who closed it out for the save. That was what the Dodgers needed. We've seen, for example, that was disastrous on Sunday. Emmett Sheehan, Jack Dreyer, Jonathan Hernandez. Between these guys, they allowed more than 10 runs in that hard loss for the boys in blue. Right here, when you have stable pitching, that means even on days that your batters aren't delivering the way that you want them to, you still have a shot at winning a game. And with Eric Lauer, I mean, he's the 6th starter out of the 6 guys, because the Dodgers, they've been consistently working with Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Shohei Ohtani, Justin Robleski, Emmett Sheehan. Those are the guys that have been the workhorses since the beginning of the season. And yes, you've had Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow go down. But right here, Roki Sasaki, sorry, I apologize for not mentioning him earlier with the guys that have been there since the beginning of the season. But you still need that extra guy because you want that 6-man rotation. And Eric Lauer hasn't just come in to be a guy. Right now, he's being a good guy for the Dodgers. At first, when the Dodgers traded for him with Toronto, I was thinking, okay, man, he's just going to be a disposable player. If he's not giving them results the first month in, they can just toss him to the side, call up a guy from AAA or trade for another player and just keep on rolling with that. No, he's been more than a serviceable player. He's been a guy that has been good for this team. This allows the Dodgers to let River Ryan continue building up in AAA. He started the season off in the injured list. He hit up the injured list a month into the year. He just came back a couple of weeks ago, so they're letting him build up those innings in the minor leagues before calling him back up. But with Eric Lauer pitching the way that he has, there's no pressure with him doing so. So this is good. And the win moved the Dodgers to 50 wins, 29 losses, and has them in the driver's seat for the best record in baseball as we approach the midseason mark, despite not even playing their best baseball yet this season. We still haven't seen the pitchers and the batters all be at their best. And look at them right now. Best record in baseball. And also, you can look at the bigger story coming out of this game was the injuries. Kyle Tucker left in the second inning with lower back spasms after he was seen hunched over the bases when Tommy Edman got a single. Then Dalton Rushing, he exited in the third inning after taking a foul ball off the mask in the first pitch from the game for the Dodgers. So he was taken out due to a concussion protocol, and it was pretty weird. I was like, wait, you wait until the third inning to take him out? That ball just went off of his helmet or his catcher's mask right in the first pitch of the game. Well, it's just the way it happens. Sometimes, for example, football, you get the guys being evaluated on the sidelines, and if it's a no-go, he's out. Baseball, he actually had an at-bat in this game. He went out there for the second inning, and it wasn't until the third inning when he was taken out of the game. Chucky Robinson, he came in behind the plate for the rest of the game. And look, injuries happen, but losing 2 starters in the same game, that stings, because look at the IL right now. Will Smith, Teoscar Hernandez, Blake Snell, Edwin Diaz, Tyler Glasnow. There's more guys, but I'm focusing on them because that's 2 starting position players, 2 starting pitchers, and your closer that you paid big bucks for in this offseason. The hope is that Tucker and Rushing don't have to hit the IL, but more likely than not, they'll both have the day off on Tuesday for the second game of this series, and the catcher situation, especially for the Dodgers, is very particular. Chucky Robinson, who struck out in his first 2 at-bats, both of them with 2 runners on base, he is the only other catcher for the Dodgers in the 40-man roster. Dave Roberts, he said post-game that the team will bring an extra catcher just in case. More than likely, it's going to be Eliezer Alfonso from AAA OKC, but I want them to potentially pick up the phone, call the Mets, hey, you got Ben Rortvedt over at AAA. What do you want for him? It wouldn't take a king's ransom. It would potentially just be a lower-level prospect, a C-level prospect to be like, okay, here you go. Let me have Benny Biceps back. Let me have Ben Rortvedt back, who did a really good job. The Dodgers, they were pretty much in this situation. Hopefully Rushing isn't out for long. But remember last year, September, Will Smith, he suffered an injury, and then 2 days later, Dalton Rushing suffered an injury as well. Chucky Robinson gets called up, but then Ben Rortvedt, he was called up as well, and he ended up doing a good job for the Dodgers in that last month of the regular season, and he was surprisingly also included in some of the postseason rosters for the Dodgers because he had been a consistent man behind the plate, but also with the bat. So Ben Rortvedt, for those that are our everydayers here on Locked On Dodgers, I see you in the comment section during our premiere asking about him. Well, he was just taken off of the injured list by the Mets in their AAA system, the Syracuse Mets, and he's been playing now. He had 6 games and he hit home runs in his last 2 before having the day off on Sunday. He rested, and then Monday was a day off for the Syracuse Mets, so why not? I feel that would be a great solution for the Dodgers. On the Tucker front, he was replaced in the game by Alex Call, who had a fantastic catch at right field late in the game and went 2 for 3 with the bat. In case Tucker lands on the IL, keep an eye on players like James Tibbs III or Zach Erhard to potentially receive an opportunity from AAA. Or maybe even former D-backs outfielder Alek Thomas, who's on the 40-man roster for the Boys in Blue. So my question to you is, how concerned are you about these injuries to Tucker and Rushing and what they could mean for the Dodgers' depth over the next couple of weeks? Drop your answer in the comments or hit me up on social at Harry Ruiz on X, at Harry_Ruiz on Instagram, or on TikTok at Harry Ruiz_. Next, on Locked On Dodgers, Dodgers fans, you are taking over the All-Star voting leaderboard, and several players are getting closer to keep fighting for starting spots in Philadelphia. Running a business shouldn't feel like you're juggling a bunch of separate systems that don't talk to each other. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings everything together. Sales, accounting, inventory, marketing, all in one platform. So your team can move faster, stay organized, and focus on growing the business instead of managing software. The best organizations know success isn't just about talent. It's about everyone working toward the same goal. Just like in sports, when the front office, coaches, and players are all aligned, just like the Dodgers, great things happen. Great organizations win because operations matter. So try Odoo for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. Are you new here? Welcome. Everydayers, you already know you're the heartbeat of our show. It's easy and free to help us out. Subscribe and like our content on YouTube. Drop a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify and hit up that Locked On Dodgers listener line. 2793-LOCKED. That's 279-356-2533. Leave a voicemail or a text where you let us know what your name is, where you're from, and you might be featured on our next shows. Dodgers fans are taking over All-Star voting. The latest 2026 MLB All-Star fan voting update is out, and Shohei is doing exactly what we expected. he's dominating. He currently sits at the top of the entire sport with 2,310,735 votes. That's more than 256,000 votes ahead of the next closest player overall and roughly 377,000 votes clear of his teammate Max Muncy, who is second among National League players. That right there is impressive. If these numbers hold through the end of Phase 1 on Thursday at 9 Pacific, 9 a.m., Ohtani would lead all of the sport in All-Star fan voting for the first time in his career. This right here caught me off guard, but I had to go back and check from 2021 until now, who were the guys that had more votes than Shohei Ohtani? And here is the list that is short, just 3 fellas. Aaron Judge, top vote getter in 2025, 2024, and 2022. Ronald Acuna Jr., he had that honor in 2023, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in 2021. Shohei Ohtani is the biggest star in the sport. He has been breaking baseball now for 2 years running since he arrived with the Dodgers, and I'm shocked that, yes, last year he was the top vote getter in the National League, but he was beat by Aaron Judge. This year, he's clearing everybody in a pretty easy way. But, man, first time as a top vote getter? What the hell? I mean, Angels fans didn't support him that way. I mean, there aren't many anymore with the way that franchise is managed. But that just shows you, when he made that trip up the freeway from Anaheim up to Los Angeles, that put a completely different visibility to this man. What he did in that first year, 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases. What he did last year, 50 home runs, 50 batters struck out. And what he's doing this year, trying to contend for the Cy Young, that just puts him over the top. And plus, yeah, he won 2 World Series last year. That just shows you that it's not just being great. It's being great in a team that you put over the top and you're having it be contending for World Series. Look at those Dodgers teams since Guggenheim took over. They had talent. They had players both coming up from the farm system, but also that they obtained via trade, that they signed via free agency. And before Shohei Ohtani arrived, all they had was 1 World Series to show when it comes to winning it. Yes, they played in the World Series in 2017 against the Astros, banging the trash cans. In 2018 against the Red Sox. And in 2020 against the Rays in the pandemic-shortened season. Now, the Dodgers, back-to-back World Series appearances, back-to-back World Series championships, and Shohei Ohtani has been a very important part of those squads, and you can see it right here in the ballot, how important it is to have that LA fan base, the real LA, not the fake LA from Orange County, and you're able to have a even bigger visibility when you're actually in Los Angeles and not in the team that says that they're from Los Angeles, but they're actually in Anaheim. But Shohei Ohtani, keep supporting him. Let's get him be the top vote getter for the first time in his career for the All-Star game. Freddie Freeman, he's opened up a solid lead at first base over Matt Olson. Meanwhile, Max Muncy is running away at third base and looks like he's a lock for his first career All-Star start. In the outfield, Andy Pages is leading all NL outfielders with over 1.5 million votes, followed by Brandon Marsh and Ronald Acuna Jr., with Teoscar Hernandez still hanging in at 5th despite being out now for a couple of weeks with his hamstring injury. In the positions where it comes to the infield, you get the top 2 vote getters into phase 2 to keep voting to then vote them as the starters. When it comes to the outfield, they just have 6 outfielders into the next round and 3 of them get picked as starters. Behind the plate, Will Smith sits at 2nd among NL catchers, same slot that Mookie Betts has over at shortstop. And the surprising part is, Ha-Seong Kim is still 4th at 2nd base. When was the last time we saw him in the major leagues? But it just goes to show you, at times the All-Star voting process, when you include fans and give them as much power as Major League Baseball does, sometimes it becomes a popularity contest. It has its pros, it has its cons. There's players that have been better, for example, than Mookie Betts at shortstop, but Mookie's at 2nd because he's been a popular player now for pretty much over a decade in baseball. He's a 3-time World Series champion with the Dodgers, 1 with the Red Sox, 4 rings. He wants to fill that hand before the end of this year when it comes to championships, and he has that visibility. He has that name recognition. When you're going through the ballot, there's fans that know the big names and that's it, and they'll vote for the big names without caring which team they play for. And Mookie Betts is one of those recognizable names. And Kim, he's a guy that has a lot of support out in South Korea. And even within the Dodgers fan base, I read you, I see you. I always see you out supporting Kim left and right, wanting him back with the big league club. And right here, you're making it noticeable. It's crazy that he's been pretty much more than half of the season at AAA. And he's still getting a lot of love. And he's at 4th place at second base. Now the thing is, if you don't get him to second place before Thursday at 9 a.m., he's not going to make the All-Star game to the second ballot, which I'm pretty sure Major League Baseball would potentially even think about rigging that and be like, no, we can't have a minor leaguer be voted into the All-Star game. I mean, in basketball, you have a G League guy winning the slam dunk contest, but you don't have him playing in the All-Star game next to LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo. No, you just have him in that the events the day before. Right here, Kim, right now, he's with the minor league team with the AAA OKC Comets, and he's contending to potentially be in Phase 2, where voting starts on June 29th, and the starters will be revealed on the MLB Network soon after that. So the game itself, July 14th in Philadelphia. Man, I'm ready. I'm excited. It's going to be a little break for the Dodgers, but potentially up to 4 starters with the way that voting is happening right now. So my question to you is, which Dodgers player are you most excited to potentially see make the All-Star team? Let me know in the YouTube comments or reach out on social media. Obviously, a lot of people are thinking about Shohei, thinking about Freddie Freeman, but how cool would it be Andy Pajes getting his first All-Star designation? Max Muncy getting his first start at third base for the National League? That would be very cool. Or are you thinking about other players? Let me know here in the comment section on YouTube. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. I'll be back for Wednesday's episode as Justin Robleski takes the mound once again for LA, searching for his 9th win of the season, as the Dodgers catch a break because they won't have to face the Twins ace Joe Ryan, who was scratched from his start due to illness. If you're with us every day, check out the Everydayer Club. You'll get Locked On Dodgers completely ad-free, access to our members-only Discord, and more perks along the way. Join the party at lockedondodgers.supercast.com. If you're watching on YouTube, stick around and check out the 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network channel. And if you're listening on audio, make Locked On MLB your second listen of the day. I appreciate you riding with me today. Until next time, keep it real, keep it Dodger Blue.